Hey mom, why am I named like Hitler?
Hi, I'm Jaycie. Welcome to the Forbidden Cities, a Keeper of the Lost Cities podcast. A podcast where Sydney and I talk about Keeper of the Lost Cities books, theories, characters, ships, and more. Hi guys.
Hello.
Welcome to episode 29 of the Forbidden Cities podcast, in which we are more tired and delusional. I forgot the word.
Delirious?
Delirious,
Delusional?
Thank you.
You know,
no,
delusional is
right.
probably accurate.
Delusional,
no. No, wait, because some of this actually is delusional.
Oh, we don't talk about that yet. Anyways,
but
we're talking about our unraveled theories, and we are unraveled, so it's right on theme. Okay, so.
Good point, yeah. It is 12 a.m. now, and we're recording straight after our last one.
It is 12:30.
Our last episode. 12. Yeah. Oh, wonderful.
And Sydney has to get up in like 5 hours. Anyways.
My eyes twitching.
Anyways, I hope you enjoy this unhinged rambling. There is some structure to it because I just spent a good bit of time kind of narrowing down the main ideas I want to talk about. So there are 3 main ideas that we actually kind of have theories about for Unraveled, or that we think will be somewhat important in it. And then I have specific notes on each of those things, and we'll talk about them. So, okay. The first one is, Sydney, do you want to tell them?
Okay. We want to talk about Ethan Benedict Wright and Eleanor Olivia Wright because based on the hints and the fact that Keefe is in London, they're going to come up. I don't know exactly how yet, but we're just going to talk about all things connected to them.
Yes. So I first have the wiki page just to get the facts on Ethan Benedict Wright II, who I am now just calling Ethan because, oh my goodness. So anyways, Ethan was allegedly first mentioned in Book 7 Flashback, which is why I think I don't have a lot of information on him. He was the man behind the green door, and Lady Gisela sent Keefe to deliver a note to him in London. He and his daughter were allegedly killed in a bus accident. Although I feel like we've had kind of confirmation that Gisela was involved in that. Am I making that up? Okay, we did. Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
Honestly, hold on.
Yeah.
You keep talking. I'm pulling Flashback out.
Sounds good. He lived in London. He was the man behind the green door. That's kind of all we know about him. And he died. We know that in his obituary, his daughter didn't have a picture, which led a person on the wiki named Don't Diss the Dexinator, who, thank you, they compiled a list of quotes about these people and their theory, but they said basically that, that Keefe and Eleanor Olivia Wright, so Ethan's daughter, are the same age, and so they're like, what if she's an elf? Or, Sydney and I have talked a little bit about the theory that, in the last episode, I slightly deliriously suggested that she could be half elf, half human, kind of as a joke, but that's also a possibility, I guess. Sydney, do you have any thoughts on that initially? I have other stuff to say if not, but...
Nothing initially, but I do think it's super interesting that Keefe and Eleanor could be the same age.
Yeah, I think that's interesting.
I find that super fascinating. Yeah.
In Flashback, Keefe recovers the memory, where he delivers the Cellarloon letter, and that's on pages 367 to 372. And then in Legacy, we find the obituary for Ethan, and that's on page 545 to 553, where we find out his 10-year-old daughter was also killed. And we have a picture of Ethan, but not Eleanor. So, that is kind of what we know about them. There's also a quote from Gethin at some point telling Sophie, Gisela's preparing your replacement. And I think we've assumed that she was talking about Keefe. That he was talking about Keefe. What do you think, Sydney? I don't think, basically the other opinion would be that it's Eleanor.
I don't know. I hadn't thought about that.
Yeah. I haven't thought about that, but I think for that to be the case, we would need a lot more books than I think what we're going to get. I don't know.
Yeah. No. Well, I mean, she's dead.
Yeah.
So it doesn't super matter, even if
Right.
Gisela was
planning it.
But I guess that's possible. She could have stuck her with Ethan.
So I guess the big question here is, what did Gisela want with Ethan? And Sophie actually does ask Keefe about it in Stellar Loon, and Keefe says, I couldn't find even one clue. He said, I just wish I knew what my mom wanted from this guy that made it worth killing him and his daughter, but I couldn't find even one clue. And that's when Sophie says, also the Stellar Loon symbol was on the letter that you gave to them. One person emailed us. I'll just say the first name, or I'll just say the first letter to be safe. So M, a listener, emailed us, and M said that in one of our latest episodes, we talked about the sibling middle names being almost the same, and we had the Brandt Algar, Kenrick Elgar, like, oh, their middle names are almost the same. What if they're brothers? And this person, M, said, what if, since we don't know Keefe's middle name and it's this big secret, what if it's similar to Eleanor's and they are siblings? Which I thought was super interesting. Like, there's technically no reason that it couldn't be true.
Keefe
and
Olive.
we know for 100% sure that Keefe's middle name is in this book because Shannon, like, made a big deal about it. So... Yeah. That's interesting.
Oliver. You know, Oliver probably was what I should have said. Not straight up Olive, but, you know.
What's something that Keefe would hate? Because he, like, really wanted this to be a secret.
Okay, Oliver, some people think it's adorable, and it is a cute name, but it's kind of a weird name. I don't know. It could be Oliver. Okay.
I feel like it's been on... See, I always thought it would be something like Cassius. Like, I thought it was, like, something that he would hate like that.
That was Legacy. My next thought. Next thing, Keefe Legacy sent.
Because I will say, in Unlocked, he edited his file to say, Keefe, not your Legacy boy Simpson.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I feel like he wouldn't leave the actual word in there.
Yeah, but he wouldn't do... Gisela wouldn't name him... Okay, it can't be anything, like,
evil.
On the nose. Yeah, because then he would have been like, hey, Mom, why am I named, like, Hitler or something?
Why am I named Stellar Loon?
Yeah.
And the whole council shows up at his door.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
I also have screenshots of the stuff that we learned technically about Ethan in Stellar Loon. Oh, were you going to say something?
I just want to revisit the middle names later, please.
Yeah.
Because I really want to come up with some. Keep going, though.
Oh. Okay. Well, this is kind of the last bit on the topic because we really don't have a lot of information about them. But in Stellar Loon, Keefe says that he told himself, well, Sophie says, I can obviously guess why you chose to go back to London, even though that probably wasn't the safest decision if you were trying to stay hidden. And Keefe said, I know. I told myself I was only going back for a day, just to walk around a little more and see if I remembered anything. She asked about Ethan Benedict Wright II. Keefe winced at the name. Yeah, and you can save your speech. I know I was just a kid when that happened. I know I was following my mom's instructions. I know all I did was deliver a sealed envelope, or that's all I can remember doing anyway. But that doesn't change the fact that I brought a letter from my mom to a guy she was trying to recruit for something, and not long after that, he and his 10-year-old daughter ended up dead. I even found their graves, so there's no way it's a misunderstanding. So he found both graves. And the epigraphs were short and simple. Ethan Benedict Wright II, beloved father. Eleanor Olivia Wright, cherished daughter. He brought them flowers. And Sophie said, someday we'll make sure she pays for what she did. Will we? I walked literally every single street in all of London, trying to find the green door I brought that letter to. But someone must have painted it a different color, and nothing triggered any memories, even when I went to the spot where they died. And he flipped the page, revealing a drawing of the somewhat plain red brick building that housed the British Library. And he'd drawn one of the red double-decker buses on the street outside, right where Ethan and Eleanor had been struck and killed, in what human authorities had ruled an accident. Mr. Forkel had found evidence that Keefe's mom had been in London that night, and she definitely had enough time to murder them. But Keefe kept worrying that he might have been involved too. So that's kind of a good background on all of that.
Yeah.
I had a thought. Did you have any thoughts?
I don't have a thought, but I did pull up those specific pages from Legacy.
From Legacy.
And, yep, I was gonna read, you know how with our last things we've talked about, we've said, okay, like with the Prentice thing, Sophie usually gets kind of close with her reasoning, but not quite there. So she does a little theorizing here, so I just wanted to read it and see if we can think of anything.
Okay.
Sound good? Okay.
Yes.
So Keefe basically says, you guys really think it's a coincidence my mom was there? And then Sophie says, okay, but why would your mom kill him and his daughter? Fenton made it sound like she was trying to recruit the guy, or Mr. Wright. Yeah, Fenton made it sound like she was trying to recruit him. Then Keefe said Fenton also said the recruiting didn't work out, and the guy, Mr. Wright, would have known stuff about what my mom was planning, so she would have had to get rid of him to protect her secrets.
I see.
And the daughter either got in the way, or my mom figured it was just easier to take out the whole family. Who knows? And then Sophie says, but why risk her sanity on 2 murderers when she could have had their minds wiped instead? Sophie countered. We already know she basically had a washer on standby. Yeah, but... And then Forkel interrupts. Just kidding. And he says, if I might intercede, I figured this is how the conversation would go once I gave you that obituary. And it's the kind of debate that never actually leads anywhere, because there's far too much speculation and far too little fact. It's exactly the kind of all-consuming distraction that none of us needs when there's so... Okay, actually, is he evil?
Forkel's been like this. That's kind of... I'm so scared, actually. I think you're right. Dude, he's totally... You're reading the Forkel like that really makes me think that he is, like, an imposter or, like, evil.
Yeah, okay, I don't actually think that, but I kind of do. You know, I kind of do.
No, see, I didn't. I was just thinking it was funny during the Stellar Loon stuff. And then you read that.
I wouldn't be surprised.
I'm just kind of, like, staring blankly in shock. Has he been doing this? Has he been doing this at the beginning? I could have, like, we'd never seen.
Have we been gaslighting ourselves into thinking Forkel... Okay, no, wait. It has to be Forkel after Lodestar. He's an imposter. He's an imposter.
I think so. But was he like this and never seen? No, he kind of was. Because she was like, what if... Well, we'll get to this. But she was like, what if Kenrick's alive? And he's like, stop thinking about that now and just look around.
Yeah, but that's a little different. I don't know.
Kind of.
But this is like... But that's like with her parents. We know he doesn't want her to know about that. This is just weird.
I have another example. In Lodestar, she kept being like, Gethin's important. We need to talk to Gethin. And he's like, no, Gethin's not important. Leave him alone. Stop asking to see Gethin. We don't need to go see Gethin. So she goes around him and goes and convinces Orly to set up a meeting. And then Forkel's like, I can't believe you did that. I told you Gethin's not important. And then after the whole thing went down, while he's like dying, he's like, yeah, you kept trying to tell me Gethin was important and I wasn't listening. And she was like... So maybe he is just like this, but he is an op.
So maybe he's just stupid. Yeah, exactly.
He's just like, you created her for this, Forkel. Why are you doing this? He just can't believe that.
Tired of him.
It's like when your dad, like, you know, he's embarrassed because you can beat him in an argument now, so he just refuses. He's just like, you're wrong, but like you're not. That's the vibe.
Yeah. Yes. Real. Yeah. It's like everything Sophie says, he has to say,
like, no, probably not.
Nah. Actually. Okay. Back to what they were saying.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Sophie reasons, basically, why would your mom kill him and his daughter?
Right.
Why not just wash their minds?
Mm-hmm.
Why risk her sanity? And then Mr. Forkel interrupts and he just stops it all. Which I feel like Forkel... Yeah, Forkel interrupting is also like Shannon stopping the conversation before it gets too far at the same time.
Yeah.
Okay, so that might be the key question. Why risk her sanity on 2 murders?
Yeah.
What could they have had that washing their minds wouldn't just fix.
Mm-hmm.
DNA is a good thought.
Yeah. Or even, like, I don't know, emotions can't be erased.
Mm-hmm. Can you... Okay. This is... You can wipe humans' minds, right? Oh, yeah, because, duh,
Well,
they
that's
did
what
that
they
to
did with
Sophie's
Sophie's
parents,
family.
yeah.
But the guy who did it was like, he got enhanced. That's how he did it. Because normally memories can be re-triggered, but she enhanced him, and that's how he deleted them permanently. But normally you can't do that. So maybe she just really didn't want them to be re-triggered.
Yeah.
I don't know. Did they have Gethin at that point? They should have.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because Sophie says we already know she basically had a washer on standby.
Right. Because she has her washer who, like, washes Keefe and Cassius all the time.
Yeah. Hold on, I'm going to look at what they said.
Maybe it was to prove her ruthlessness or something.
That's possible.
Or to test it out.
It doesn't seem big enough. Maybe if it is just a murder to test it out, that's possible.
Mm-hmm.
But
also, I think the green door, like, being an interesting symbol. I don't know how, but I know green is, like, the color of the elf funerals, color of life.
Yeah.
And the door is
and
green.
we know that Ethan Benedict Wright is human because he has green eyes. Is that what we're thinking?
Also because he's, like, old with gray hair and stuff. Like, he has red hair, but it has streaks of gray. And he's, like, wrinkled and nerdy looking. So I don't think he's elf.
Okay, just checking. Cool. What if their elves somehow turned human? Just kidding.
Elves turned human?
Throwing stuff out.
Maybe, like, a half human.
Yeah, I'm just throwing stuff out there.
Yeah.
Why would Gisela care enough to have them murdered, and why would she try to recruit him? He's just a random human.
See, that's the part, like, what does she need a human for?
Yeah.
Because her whole thing has been this whole Stellarlian process, right? Mm-hmm. But why? Like, what's her desire? What's her core, like, thing she's seeking? Is it just power?
Mm-hmm.
Is it to, like, expose the ancient council? What is it?
Both?
Okay,
hold on. I looked down at Flashback, which, you know, both of us have, like, no clue what happened in this. And this is also interesting. They're talking about Keefe.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you want me to search the entire city of London for a house with a green door. Then Sophie says, we saw the seal on the envelope. Maybe it's important. Like how the lodestar symbol was a map. Okay, y'all should have listened to her back then.
Okay, so the Wi-Fi cut out a little bit while Sydney was reading this quote, so here's what it said. Anyone else really hoping that's not true? Keefe asked. I mean, I know I wasn't around when you guys figured out what all the dashes and circles meant, but that process had to be worse than back-to-back history lectures. It kind of was, Sophie admitted, but this symbol's much simpler, so it should be easier to figure out. Then again, maybe it was too simple. A single star surrounded by the 2 crescent moons wasn't much to go on. I bet the important stuff's in the part of the memory we're still missing, Fitz said quietly. Keefe probably talked to every single person he saw, or he found a way to read the letter, or both. Sounds like me, Keefe agreed. So how do we find the missing piece?
Tiergan says we can't.
I missed some of that, but what page number was that on?
It's on page 376.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And I think somewhere around that, Sophie's like, I wish there was a greendoorsInLondon.com, which I am currently scrolling through. Not that literal website, but I am scrolling
Just
through.
green doors in London?
Okay, house or apartment, it says, specifically in Flashback. Yeah, I just Googled London houses with green doors. There's a lot of results, so.
Oh, great. Because my next thought was to Google where they died, the bus place.
What do you know? Wait, what did it say specifically? Is it a bus stop or just like?
Nope, it was in front of. I'm looking back for it. It's in Legacy, British Library. I think that's probably the British Library.
Oh
yeah, there is
the British Library. Ah, it's bus stop C.
Hold
I
on.
don't think we're gonna find
Really?
anything like this.
Wow.
Post-recording Jaycie jumping in to say, it is at this point that we spend 5 full minutes Googling the British Library, legends of the British Library, deaths around the British Library, and we find nothing. So I'm going to spare you from that and just let you move on to.
Okay. Well, I think that's all we've basically got on him right now, is that Keefe is going to interact with him. Something's going on. There's a possible sibling thing, which I think is interesting. I still think the fact that it's a green door, just because green is such an important color for the elves, is interesting, especially now because Keefe said he couldn't find any green doors in London, when I definitely know they exist. So that's supposed to be like something, I don't know. He's like, maybe someone painted over it. But that feels weird to me. That feels like a really weird detail for him to like specifically name again. But any
That's
further thoughts
possible.
on this part of the theory?
Okay. Could Jessica's plan have been somehow to rule the human world through Ethan Benedict Wright?
I don't know if she would do it through a human. And I don't know what her plan is, because I know that Fenton wanted to take control of the humans. Like, I know that his opinion is that the problem is humans and da-da-da-da-da. But I don't know, does she want to rule the humans? Or does she just, I don't know what she wants at all.
All I was thinking is of her her plan to get all those different species on her side.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know, I was connecting it there. But
Oh, maybe he was the human. But why him?
I know.
That's
He was a
so
professor.
interesting. But like,
Yeah.
there's like so many of those.
Yeah, I don't know.
Huh.
He stumbled across
He's
the
gotta be
elven
like,
world.
yeah, they've
Wait.
gotta be like half human, half elf.
Yeah. Okay, the fact that he's a professor, could he have been, like, investigating something? And, like, found the elven world or something? I don't know.
Maybe.
I'm just
Maybe
throwing stuff out
his
there.
wife was an elf. Because it's just him
Oh,
and his
yeah.
daughter.
Yeah.
There's still the possibility that that he is Gisella's mister.
Yeah. That's
I don't
true.
know.
But I don't think Shannon would do anything like that in the kids
Really?
series.
Oh, come on, we've got... I don't know, man. Maybe.
That's scandalous. Okay. I just think this little thing where Sophie says, why would she murder them instead of wipe their minds? I think there's something there.
Yeah, that's very true. There's some reason.
Yeah. But also, isn't it true that we shouldn't find anything out about them in Unraveled? Because Keefe says...
Yeah, Keefe says that he found nothing. That was my main, like, point of confusion. Like, what?
Unless he's...
He might be missing
that's
something.
what he's hiding.
Oh.
But I don't think so. Because
Who
also,
knows?
he meets some mysterious figure we know from the cover, and he doesn't mention that either.
All we have to do is grab his pulse and be like, Keefe, did you meet Ethan? And if he says no, and his heart skips beats, then there's your answer.
Yeah.
Bro, I need to be in this series. I would just be like, guys. It's so easy. It's so easy. Morella might be lying. Stina, lie detect everything everyone says. And then I'm going to hold your wrist while you do it so I know if you're lying. Boom.
Yeah.
We automatically know everything. No, I think the problem is, though, that Sophie's not just expecting these people to, like, bold-faced lie to her, so I get it, but...
Yeah. And it's not like she can get close enough to Vespera to hold her wrist or something, you know?
Yeah, well, Vespera is probably not even her there anyways. She's probably just, like, a cloud.
Yeah.
Okay, that's all I've got on Ethan. So the second part,
Yeah.
I'm so excited about this. We have a theory that apparently a lot of people have, and I'm so excited. There is a theory, a credible one, finally, that Kenrick is alive. So here's how it goes. So there is a girl who now follows the podcast. And I will call her E because I don't know if she wants me to say her whole name on the podcast or not. But she also has like she's on Instagram. She's got a bookstagram. And I saw her comment on one of Shannon's posts. So if you want to go find her with this information, that's fine. Saying like, hey, Kendrick could be alive. And I was like, hi, want to be friends? So E said...
Yeah, Jaycie texted me stuff, and my phone wouldn't load the screenshot she was sending me. And so I thought something was seriously wrong. I was like, what's up?
I'm shaking. Please. So anyways, E said, I assumed that he was living with the humans with his memories washed or something about Kenrick because this person's like, oh, I think he's alive. And I assumed he was living with the humans with his memories washed or something. But the other night I was on the phone with a friend of mine who had just finished Never Seen and was telling me how shocked she was that Fenton made it out of the fire. So I told her about my Kenrick theory and I was like, what if instead of them washing his memories and letting him go to the Forbidden Cities, the background, she thinks that basically he was captured by the Never Seen. They washed his memory, and then they were like, hey, join us. And then he pretended to work for them and was a double agent and lets Forkel know of the plans. Now, I love this idea because Kenrick would be alive in it. But I think an issue with that would be that the Black Swan, like, has lost since then. So it wouldn't make a lot of sense for Kenrick to be, like, a part of the Never Seen, like, being a double agent because the Black Swan has been losing. But I've had a similar theory where the Never Seen have captured him and he's just been a prisoner, which also lines up with, so around the time that Lodestar was released, Shannon Messenger did an interview saying like, well, a lot of people have asked me if like this character who dies in Everblaze is gonna come back, and he would be like a terrible person if he was lying to them and letting them mourn him, so he's not coming back. But she, like, I don't know if she directly says no, but she's just like, that would be terrible, I can't do that. So, you know, kind of 50-50, but what really gets around it is if he's imprisoned with, like, by the Never Seen and being tortured for information or being held for like a final bargaining chip if they're desperate or whatever. So
or just plain memory wiped.
Oh, memory wiped too. Yes, and that's what this person says is like memory wiped. That's definitely a possibility, but I think that they want the information in his head, at least if I had to guess, because Gethin can read minds. And maybe that's what Gethin is off doing. Who knows?
Okay, or they could have. It's possible. Okay, sorry, I'm just thinking, but they could have not found anything in his head because it's all in Prentice's head.
That's true.
And it's on the catch because Kenrick knew that Fenton was coming for him, so he prepared. And then when they couldn't do that, they couldn't kill him because sanity. / possible family connection. I don't know.
Right, because Brent
so
is
instead,
dead.
Instead they'd wipe his memory and set him loose in the Lost Cities. I don't know, because
if he's being a double agent, that might be... So, okay, the theory that this person has, which I like a lot, and you'll see why, is that basically that he's playing double agent. Gisela wants someone to babysit Keefe, and she sends Kenrick. Or at some point they send him, someone on the Never Seen does. So then that would explain why Mr. Forkel had such a sharp reaction when Fenton reappeared in Never Seen, because if he knows Kenrick is alive, then he's like, oh no, you should turn your attention elsewhere, because it would blow Kenrick's cover. And if so, Keefe could, and this is still not mine, this is E's theory, the part where I said it would blow Keefe's cover for them to know, because my original theory is he's just, like, sitting in jail being tortured or, like, memory wiped or whatever. Like, I don't think, my personal theory is not that he's a double agent, but this is E's theory, and I like it.
Okay.
I'm not 100%, like, it's not my theory. And so, basically... Sorry, Google's really bad with screenshots, and I'm doing my best to actually read it. There we go. So this person, they said, then that's another point that I have. It was kind of random that Shannon dredged everything up with Kenrick and Orly after so many books with so little mention of it. And we know she loves foreshadowing, so what if she's bringing all of this information to the front of our minds because she knows that she's about to bring Kenrick back? Which we were like, yeah, like, that's a theory that, like, Jaycie likes for sure. But, like, is there any, like, solid evidence? And then someone started saying, like, well, there's a cloaked figure on the cover of Unraveled. And why would they... Yeah. What were you going to say?
Yeah. And, well, I just thought it was funny that at first you were like, oh, this is a theory people have. I'm so excited this is a theory people have.
Because
even if
I've
it's,
had this
like,
theory for
delusional.
So long.
Yeah. And then we started talking about it because I was like, no. But then she pointed out the person on the cover. And I was like...
And Shannon made a big deal about the person on the cover. She was like, look at the mysterious figure. Who could that be? And we were like, Shannon, but it's not book 10. But because, like, you know, I just feel like a lot of people have been like, oh, it's not book 10. It's not going to be important. So we're not making, like, big theories about it. But she's been making a big deal about it. So then Sydney...
Okay, so then I was looking at it. And I was like, I don't know. Well, okay, I have one more thing to add before we get to that.
Yeah.
That thing. Anyway, I looked back through the books and I found where Keefe says what is it exactly? Keefe is... Do you have it saved?
Okay, I found it. Keefe smirked. Technically, Mommy Dearest is paying for it. I raided her jewelry box at Candleshade before I left, and the stuff I took turned out to be worth a lot of human money. That was actually a brilliant plan, and something Sophie never would have thought of. She obviously needed to give Keefe's human survival skills more credit. But... how did you know where to sell everything? She asked, imagining Keefe trying to negotiate with the owner of a dingy pawn shop, and then leaving with a huge sack of cash in his pocket, practically begging to be robbed. And don't hotels require some sort of ID before they'll let you check into a room? Especially a room like this? It's been a lot of trial and error, Keefe admitted. Took me a few days of pretty much non-stop light leaping to find the facet on the Pathfinder that got me to London. And then I just kind of wandered around trying to figure out how everything worked, and I realized it's all about who you know. Ask the right questions, make the right friends. Friends? Sophie interrupted. You have friends here? She wasn't surprised, given how smart and funny Keefe was, and part of her was glad that he hadn't had to spend all these weeks alone. But the idea of him settling in and finding a group of humans to hang out with definitely stung. Let's just say I've had a little help and leave it at that, okay? Keefe asked, and there was something almost pleading in his expression. I promise someday I'll tell you all about my adventures in Humanland, including a particularly awesome anecdote involving a giant spider and a horrible paste called Vegemite. But right now, I think I've been very patient, waiting for you to tell me why you're all here. Soaking wet in the middle of the night, so he changes the subject and starts kind of trying to be funny. Yeah. So that's that.
So I was just looking for stuff, playing along. I was like, okay, sure, let me see what I can find. On the pleading look, and I was like, okay, that's interesting. He gives her a pleading look, so he's hiding something.
He doesn't want to tell her about it.
He didn't tell her about the mysterious figure. Okay, that could explain why Keefe isn't like, hey guys, Kenrick is back. Like, Kenrick told him, don't tell everybody. Right. And I was like, okay, whatever, sure. And then I started looking more at the cover, and I was like, there's an awfully large amount of this cover taken up by a red tree. Isn't that a little...
Which is a little coincidental, considering a certain other red tree in the series.
We have a hooded figure underneath a red tree
that
takes up just like
most of the cover.
Very obvious. It's literally at least 25% of the cover.
Yeah.
Probably closer to 35. Right smack right there. And I was like, if I were going off... Well, okay, we've ranted about the Unraveled... Everyone has ranted about the Unraveled cover so much.
Yeah.
That it just, didn't occur to me to think maybe there's a reason this cover looks this way. Maybe there's a reason it looks so different.
It's so plain, yeah.
It is. It's so plain. And, what reason? She could have literally put London behind him. Yeah. She could have put, any city, any place.
I mean, we had Paris on the book one cover, right?
Yes. I'm sure maybe she was trying to leave the, like, mysterious element. I don't know. But you could have made a much cooler.
And every cover is important.
Cover.
Like, every cover has something important to do with the book.
Yes, it's never
not just random stuff.
Exactly. Yeah, and how could she subtly hint to Kenrick in a way that we wouldn't see immediately?
Unless we were looking for it.
So that when we look back, we're like, oh yeah, that book. The one with the red, that's the Kenrick book.
The Kenrick one.
Oh my goodness, you totally connected after you find out. So then Jaycie and I are on the phone trying to figure this theory out, and I'm just literally sitting there looking at the cover like,
There's
tree.
No way.
Why is the tree there?
There's no way.
The tree is why is the tree why is it red? And also, like, why is it red? You don't just use red in a design just for fun. By the way,
Sydney
let me point that out.
Red.
Yeah, because red is the most attractive color. Like, you see it and your eye goes straight to the red, which is what happens every time I look at this book. I don't know. I just think it's weird. Why is the red tree there above the mysterious figure? So that's my case. My case entirely rests on the existence of that red tree. Yeah. And we might be laughing at this a few days after Unraveled.
No, here's the thing, is like,
but
what percentage do I believe this? Like, maybe 5%. You know what I mean? Like, I say this, but I, like, you know, I've been having this Delulu for, like, what? Everybody's came out 10 years ago, but I didn't start reading the series till Never Seen was out. So do the math there. I've been having this Delulu theory for 8 years or whatever. So, like, to me, this is just another, like, oh, Kenrick's alive in my heart. But, you know, I think it's cool that other people think that now. And I will still have, like, a heart attack if we're right. And by right, I mean we call it. But, yeah, I don't know. What were you going to say?
I'm just reading the what do you call it? Spill for Unraveled on Amazon.
The blurb.
It literally starts with the past and present unravel into staggering truths.
No way.
In this can't miss installment. Then it says, keep going, tries to figure out answers about his past, but what he found was so much more than adventures.
No.
Where did he go? What did he do? Who did he meet?
No.
Yeah.
I don't believe it. I don't believe it. I don't believe it.
Hold on. What's the other thing I sent you that I found that Shannon said? Exactly. I'm going to find it in our text.
About what?
It was just another one where she was like...
Where she was like, you aren't going to believe this.
Yeah, hold on. I'll find it.
There ain't no way.
Yep.
It'll be the Forkle twin before it's Kenrick. Don't play with my heart like this.
Real. This is what Shannon said about it. Unraveled is told exclusively from Keefe's point of view. Prepare to be shocked. Unraveled is an absolutely essential piece of the Keeper story, filled with tons of important reveals and unexpected twists. You will need to read it before you read book 10. And then, it's not just a moment, it's a mood. She's talking about the cover, with a few hints of what you're going to learn in his story. Notice the figure washing him? Dun, dun, dun! If it feels like it gives away a little less than the other... I don't remember what the next part of that sentence is. That's interesting.
No, what is the next part of that sentence, Sydney?
Hold on, I'll find it, sorry.
I need you to have a full version of your name so I can be like Sydneythan. Like Jonathan, but like...
Sydneythan.
That's why I love people named Abby, because I can call them Abigail.
Sidonia's pretty. You can call me Sidonia. It's from a book.
Okay, what's the rest of it, Sidonia?
Okay, give me a second. Okay, if it feels like it gives away a little less than the other covers, that's also intentional. Keefe is extra cautious in the story, so we want it to feel as mysterious as it should, but I promise all will be revealed. Okay, so that doesn't really help us. But, she says a few hints of what we'll see in Keefe's story.
There's no way.
And then she says, notice the figure watching him. That's one hint. Do you see any other hints? Maybe the woman with the baby? Maybe, I don't know. Also, how convenient to, like, hide him under a hood so we have no clue. Because, like, Kenrick's red hair would totally give him away.
Yeah. Well, we know what he looks like. It has to be someone... Okay, so the hooded figure has to be someone who we know what they look like. Otherwise, why bother putting him in a hood? It's way more exciting to see him. So it does have to be someone that we know. Like, someone.
Yeah, that's
That
fair.
narrows the pool down. And we know a few people who weren't in it because we saw them in Unraveled. No, sorry, we saw them in Stellar Alone. So, you know, some people who didn't know where Keefe were for sure, like the people who were honest with Sophie and who wouldn't, like, have gone to find Keefe. So that kind of narrows it down to, like, a never-seen member or Kenrick. Like, an actual one or Kenrick. Like, kind of.
Just throwing it out there, who else could it be? It could be, I don't know, Trix, but that'd be boring. It could be Alvar? It could be Alvar.
Isn't he, like, dead?
Well, that's ambiguous, which is why it could be Alvar.
Yeah, but it's so boring.
Wait. It really could be Alvar.
Yeah.
Because he's, like, he would go to the Lost Cities. Okay, hold on.
Yeah, where else
Alvar
would
would
he go?
totally go to the Forbidden Cities, and find the fanciest hotel ever to stay at.
How would he get
And
the
then
money
he would be
for
like,
it?
hey, Keefe. Well, the same way Keefe did.
Yeah,
He's also, like, attractive and stuff. Okay, the likely theory actually is probably Alvar.
Yeah, probably. But what is the red tree?
The tree!
Maybe Keefe, like, goes to the Wonderling Woods for a visit. I don't know.
Hold on, when does Alvar, like, die? Kind of. Somewhere in flashback. Do you have it on Kindle?
Yeah.
Can you search Alvar?
Yeah, I can search Alvar.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
No.
I just have
Don't
to.
be sorry. I'm not saying that in a frustrated way. I'm just saying it in I have to open flashback way.
Well, I know you're a little frustrated because you really want it to be Kenrick.
No,
and honestly,
I kind of...
That tree...
If I want Kenrick to be alive, I want him to be alive in prison, not alive and not telling orally he's alive. I don't want that to happen.
His memory could be wiped, for real.
He would remember orally.
He could be searching for her in the Forbidden Cities because he thinks she's a human. Like, he could have his memory wiped. Okay. What?
I don't know. He's a telepath. He can read minds. He would figure out really quick that he's not a human.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point. I don't know. Sophie didn't. Either. Sophie didn't. Well, I'm just throwing stuff out.
Yeah, that's true. How much of his memories would they wipe? Like, would he forget?
Hey, Sophie's a really powerful telepath. All would be okay.
What are you talking about?
They could restore them or something. I don't know. But yeah, he wouldn't recognize Keefe.
Yeah, if he's supposed to recognize Keefe.
But don't you want him to be alive?
I want him to be alive and also not a problem. Is that too much to ask? I'm starting to think it is, and I'm scared, Sydney.
Okay, pull up Alvar in flashback.
I'm looking. Alvar was in there for like an hour without air, and Tarina said the liquid pours in super hot, so I don't see how survival instincts, Keefe interrupted, swiping a hand down his face before his eyes met Sophie's. Breathing, this is page 830. Breathing control and body temperature regulation. Sophie wanted to kick something. Alvar excelled at both skills, and he was a vanisher, so he could have turned invisible once he was free and snuck out the door. So, he's still alive, she murmured, needing to say it to make her brain believe it. We think so, Dex admitted. And Fitz freaked, Merle added. So, you should probably check on your boyfriend.
Ugh.
Yeah.
No, okay, so he escapes from the goo, but then also he returns and is... Hold on. Alvar made a... I'm looking at the wiki. I thought I remembered this. Alvar made a trade with Sophie, trading information about Lady Gisela, which in return allowing him to leap away.
Yeah, Alvar.
Yeah, shoot. Yeah, okay, hold on. Legacy, Alvar's found hiding at Candleshade. He claims he's dying. They let him light leap away. I wonder where he light leaps to.
Oh, I wonder.
I want to
know what the red tree is all about.
I don't want Alvar to...
Alvar is boring.
He is. He's so annoying. He should have died a lot of times.
He should not have died once. He should have died at least 5 times for how annoying he is.
He should be dead for real. Okay, so maybe it's Alvar.
But
it's
also,
probably
maybe
Alvar.
Kenrick's alive. Because some
But also,
people who aren't
okay,
think that
because of the tree. Why
It's
the
the
red
tree for
tree?
And
Okay,
bringing
just
Kenrick
seriously,
back up
why?
and watching all of his memories for the first time in 10 years is...
Yeah, and it'd be like fan service, but like the best kind of fan service. And then he can go trigger Prentice's memories.
Yes, that's what I was...
Okay.
Because that was the other part of that train of thought, is like somebody needs to know how to trigger Prentice's memories, because Prentice clearly knows stuff. And we've dredged this all back up like, oh, okay, Prentice has Kenrick's memories. Now what?
Yeah.
Well, we don't know without Kenrick.
Yep. And okay, wait. This is something against the Alvar thing. If Shannon needed book 9.5 to make 10 make sense.
Uh-huh.
Alvar doesn't make sense.
You're right. Okay, explain what you mean by making 10 make sense, because that was a recent thing. Yeah.
Yeah, so Shannon put out the video saying that she had to write 9.5 in order for 10, the puzzle pieces to fit together. In order for us to know some stuff that Keefe doesn't tell Sophie, basically.
Yeah.
Hence the pleading look.
Mm-hmm.
So, if it's Alvar, maybe there's something there, but we don't know. However, it would totally make sense that Keefe knows Kenrick's alive, Sophie doesn't.
And we need to know.
We need to know.
Yeah.
It makes more sense.
And there's no reason why he would keep Alvar being alive from Sophie, right?
Yeah, as far as we know. Unless there's some other throwaway reason. Like, there could be an infinite possibility of reasons.
Oh, of course.
But like, none that we can figure out. Just right now.
Yeah. I think the one that's most exciting is the Kenrick thing.
Yeah.
And not just
the tree. Why the
tree?
Unless, okay, that's so lazy if they just threw the tree on there.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, is they don't do that with the covers. Like, everything on the covers always has a point.
Mm-hmm. And Shannon says a few hints.
Except stinging Everblaze, whatever the heck that was.
Yeah.
I'm still mad
A few hints. I guess the hints could be the woman and the child. They could.
Yeah, what do you think the woman and the child is about?
I don't know.
I haven't got a clue.
Me neither. I kind of think it's arbitrary, but
maybe
I don't know.
He helps them.
Yeah.
And then they're forming
some
a symbiotic relationship.
Mm-hmm. Like just some people he encounters. But
well, what I'm thinking is when he first goes to the Forbidden Cities, he's gotta stay somewhere. Maybe I don't know. Maybe the woman's on the streets of London and she needs a man to protect her. So their symbiotic relationship is he walks with the woman and the baby so they don't get attacked on the street. And she has an ID so he can get a hotel room. Like, who knows?
Jaycie, are you feeling upset about not being able to walk on the street? Is
Are you,
that where
Sydney?
this is coming from? I mean, me personally, I am actually pretty upset about that.
Yeah. Hey, I know it's a reality. I don't know. How...
Perhaps.
That's all I could possibly think of. Why a baby? There's not been a baby in the series ever. That's weird. The third theory is really short. I think Keefe mentions being numb in Stellar Loon. He says, I'll read it really quick. He says, sure enough, after a few agonizing minutes, he told her, "The reason I'm not giving commands right now is because I feel kinda numb. Numb. The word exploded in Sophie's brain. Blah, blah, blah. I don't want to, take away too much from the episode where we're actually going to talk about this, but she says, what you told me can happen to empaths? Not that bad. At least not yet. I don't know if that's where I'm heading. I was getting so bombarded by emotions that when I tried to find a way to switch my empathy off, like you do with your enhancing, but nothing worked. And it got so overwhelming that I just had to tune everything out, and now I mostly feel this, flat, dull ache. I mean, obviously I have moments where my emotions still take over, or I pick up something a little stronger from someone, but most of the time it's like my brain doesn't know what to do with anything I'm feeling, and I keep saying the wrong things or making everything awkward because I don't know how to read people anymore, and it's the most annoying thing ever. So basically, I guess with his new, I originally read that as with humans, but I don't think it's because of the humans. I just think it's because of his reset abilities. His empathy is so strong that he just is kind of numbing out because he's overwhelmed by it. But yeah, I also don't think that he's like numb, not just because he says it there, but also like he feels really bad whenever he admits to Sophie, oh, this is something else we'll see, her reaching out to him telepathically. He confirms that he hears it. So we'll have that at some point, and he does feel bad about it. We said that, he also said that he wants to come and be somewhere new, somewhere with no memories. I don't know if that's related to something that happened while he was in the human cities, but he, like, there are still a few things that show, like, he's not totally numb. He looks confused whenever he reads Sophie's emotions for the first time, so that means he senses something different from her, but not, like, another thing he says to her, clearly you still haven't learned that you can't lie to an empath, so he can still tell when she's lying. So, related to those things, I do think that he's going numb. I wonder if part of this is Gisella's using fear to control him thing that we mentioned in our last episode. And it's specifically mentioned on page 583 of Stellar Loon, where she said that she didn't care that the last step of Stellar Loon might be designed to break Keefe. So, I think that my reading of that is breaking Keefe, like, into obedience through fear, and that's somewhat, I think that whatever she's using to control him, that fear, maybe it's just his ability until it just destroys him mentally, that's causing him to go numb, and, somehow she's going to use that to her advantage. Yeah. But I don't think he's fully numb now. So that's the kind of the third theory on that. The thing about this is, like, we really don't know a lot. Like, because it's Keefe's point of view especially, and he's just off in the Forbidden Cities, it could literally be anything. Like, it could just be a bunch of stuff we've never heard of before. Yeah. Like, I saw someone say, I have no idea what this is, but he mentions Vegemite, and apparently that's an Australian thing, and the spider, so he's gonna go to Australia. He goes to London, he goes to Disney World. Like, the amount of things that could happen in this book. He could literally just do anything. So, So, in the end, we don't really know, but those are three kind of big things that I think will come up. Like, him being numb, hopefully Kenrick, or whoever the cloaked figure is, maybe Alvar, apparently, and Ethan Benedict Wright II, but, like, he won't find anything about him. So, Any final thoughts, Sydney? If you have any thoughts happening anymore in your brain. It's pretty late. Final thoughts. The red Currently tree. Got nothing. Yeah, the red tree. That's all. Just so y'all know, I would think Jaycie and... What's her name? Are we calling her E? Iker's called her E, yeah. Okay. I would think they were absolutely nuts if I hadn't seen that tree and been like, wait a minute, hold on. It's something. The tree. It's something. For the first time in so long, I have the tiniest bit of evidence I can cling on to, so... It's like a solid... Yeah. I have 10 more days of delusion before I have to give it up, so there you go. Oh my goodness. If it doesn't go the way you want, you need to write it the way you want. Oh, I'm already doing that. Like, rewrite Unlocked. Unlocked? Oh, I have a post. Yeah. It's fine. Sorry, not Unlocked. Unraveled. Yeah, I was going to say, I have a post Unraveled, like, way it unfolds. But that's not a topic for 1:30 in the morning. So, anyways, I hope you guys have enjoyed our random ramblings on Unraveled. Yes. And I hope that some of this was exciting for you guys. I know the Kenrick part was for me. So, anyways, Sydney, I will let you go to bed. Good night and goodbye, everyone. Thank you for listening to the Forbidden Cities podcast. Leave us a review and tell a friend about the podcast if you liked us. Email us with comments and episode suggestions at theforbiddencitiespodcast@gmail.com. And to follow us on Instagram, just search @Forbidden Cities Podcast.